Hello, everyone. I'm Colin Tessier of WrestleZone.com here to talk about a very eventful, dare I say, historic edition of WWE SummerSlam that happened last night on Saturday, July 30th. Before I do, just want to remind you all this show, like everything we do here, is available on all of our platforms: SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. You know where to find us. Please do leave a like and subscribe to SummerSlam this year. Yes, indeed, a historic show. The first WWE pay-per-view / premium live event without Vince McMahon at the helm. This was in a lot of ways the beginning of the Triple H era. Of course, I think it's important to temper expectations, both leading into the show for yesterday and also now as we sit here, call it 12 hours removed from it as we sit here recording, that, it wasn't exactly the first show in Triple H's era. Like Vince McMahon likely was, as far as we know, still around, still helping with the transition. But obviously Triple H, he's the head of creative, right? He's the guy that's running the show here. Nesha says good morning. Hassan says hello. Hello, everybody. Hope you enjoyed SummerSlam here. Nesha, right off the bat, saying great show. Gives it a 10. 10 out of 10 for SummerSlam from Nesha. Eddie says the best pay-per-view. He's saying it with the new era. I mean, best one so far. I mean, it's the first one, so kind of has to be, right? I'll tell you, I was, even before the show, I was feeling pretty hopeful, pretty excited about it, which usually is not the case for me, as we talked about before on this show. So the shows we do here, like I've been a little jaded, a little, a little critical of the WWE product lately. And as we talked about our latest show with Vince McMahon after he retired, I was talking about the new era there. I feel a renewed sense of, dare I say, hope. So some renewed, maybe cautious optimism here. So I did feel a little hopeful, a little more excited. Maybe a little too much. Maybe I was expecting things to be a little too crazy. In general, there's some things that I hype myself up about that may have been a little unrealistic. We'll talk about that. But overall, like I was definitely excited, and I think if you were excited heading to SummerSlam, you had good reason to be. And I think the show probably, at least for me, delivered on those expectations. Eddie says it was best from start to finish. He's diving in with a comment right about what happened right after the first match here, and likewise, that's saying from start to finish, it was great. Well, let's dive right in at the start. It kicked off with Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, a rivalry basically a year in the making, dating back to the 26-second loss for Bianca last year. Obviously, Becky lost to Bianca at WrestleMania this year to kind of have that redemption. And as we talked about on the Raw show here a couple times in the recent weeks, not sure this is really needed, right, to have it yet, like the big rematch so soon. But this was kind of the way to really put the finishing touches on that long story, to have that final chapter of that feud. Very good match. Obviously, Becky and Bianca do have a great chemistry by now, having worked together so much. So I enjoy the match itself, but obviously, we can't even pretend. Like, everyone's talking about what happened after the match. So Bianca won, as you might expect. This one didn't feel like there was a lot of doubt that Bianca would win. Like, I myself, I thought, like, if Becky wins, like, I don't even know what we're going to be doing here. Because, like, the whole story, a year in the making, was Bianca winning. And I was really worried that they would, I mean, maybe in Vince's WWE, she may have lost. Thankfully, the new WWE, Bianca won, to retain the title, so we're good there. So now after the match, Becky shakes her hand. So first, a little sign that Becky Lynch maybe, possible face turn, maybe a little hint there. But then Bayley's music hits. Bayley, the role model, is finally back. She's been gone for basically over a year now. She was supposed to face Bianca at Money in the Bank 2021. Went down with an injury. She's been gone ever since. Ever since then, even especially the past couple months, everybody's been wondering, when's Bayley going to come back? Where's Bayley? Bianca wins. Bayley comes back. And for in a moment, you're like, oh, cool, Bayley's back. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Like, the good for the women's division. We're going to get a big shot in the arm now. And then, I'm trying to remember the order. So I think it was then Dakota Kai came out. So it's Bayley. She comes down the ramp. Then Dakota Kai comes out. And then you're like, oh, boy. Oh, this is the Triple H era. We are swinging for the fences. Triple H, the father of NXT, so he's going for it. He's bringing in the people that he really he valued highly. Now, of course, important to note, Dakota Kai got released in April as part of a wave of budget cuts under Vince McMahon's WWE. First week, Triple H being in charge, Triple H brings her back. And Fightful Select had a report about this, and I don't want to give it away, but like and just as a fan, I'm going to say like this was very clearly a Triple H thing. Like this would not have happened in Vince McMahon's WWE. Like this is Triple H rolling with the people that he values, that he thinks highly of. So Bayley comes out, Dakota Kai comes out, having been released a couple months ago. Now she's back, and then Io Shirai, now known as Io Sky, okay, she comes out as well. So now I have this trio: Bayley, Dakota, and Io are standing there, and like back to back, boom, boom, boom. They're like, oh man, this is crazy. This is right after the first match. So then they get in the ring, and they're ready to attack Bianca. And then Becky Lynch stands next to Bianca, kind of ready to fight alongside her. So then this new heel trio kind of backs away, saying, all right, not tonight. So huge start to the show. Bayley's back. Dakota Kai is back in the company. Io Shirai, who reportedly her contract was probably coming up. She was probably going to leave. But then Triple H takes over. Now she's on the main roster, something people have been calling for a long time. Now she's on the main roster. I gotta be honest, like I kind of teared up in a way because I was just like, finally, right? This is exactly what we've been wanting for so long, just to have WWE lean into all the depth they have in NXT, or that they did have. And then obviously, as I said, Dakota got released. Io was seemingly on her way out here. Like I was just so happy of like, man, like this is the stuff we've been wanting to see for so long. Now it's finally happening. Boy, it's so good. So good. This is and Triple H himself tweeted a tweet about this. He said, this is just the start. So I was like, it's a new day, folks. Like this is a very good thing. Dakota Kai is great. I never got a really fair shake in NXT, especially in 2.0. Io Shirai is great. She's amazing. And I'm very glad she will seemingly be sticking around. They both have, as of last night, new shirts on WWE Shop. Now, I don't know why I'm plugging them, but there you go. So that makes us think that they're going to be sticking around here. Eddie says Io probably wanted the main roster deal if she was going to stick around. Well, there you go. She's seemingly going to be on Raw now, so that's a very big thing. And he points out that part of that Fight report was that this was pitched earlier this year and supposedly rejected by Vince. So again, like first huge clear sign that this is the new Triple H era here. Like this is great. Okay, and I'll lump this in. This came out on Friday that reportedly NXT might be shifting somewhat, quote unquote, somewhat back to Triple H's vision. We're going to talk more about that this upcoming week when we do new stuff, but this like seeing that here, like this is Triple H's NXT kind of brought to the main roster in a way here. Like I love it. Chef's kiss, made me very happy. This is going to be great from women's division, just on paper, bringing in these three very talented individuals. Like overdue, could have been done a while ago, but I'm very glad it's happening now. And now there's so many things this opens up. Nesha says now we can finally get Bayley versus Becky. That's an match that people wanted to see for a long time. So now that seems kind of, that could very well be part of this. Maybe at Extreme Rules or one of the next PMI events here, that's a match that they can definitely build to as Becky's kind of standing alongside Bianca. That's easy to kind of go under the radar here with the trio here. But now Becky standing next to Bianca. Now, like, is she a face now? That's definitely something interesting as well. Benjamin A. Jones points out now you've got this trio. Now you've got Becky, Bianca. Maybe now we're going to see something with the women's tag titles. They've been on a shelf somewhere ever since Sasha and Naomi walked out. So that's something as well. You think about maybe that down the road, Eisen Walkers and maybe Io and Asuka team up. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Man, like this is such a great way to start the show. Great match, but then obviously this big post-match angle here. Benjamin A. Jones saying some people in the comments didn't know who these people were. I mean, I will say, like, if you don't watch NXT, then that's like fair, but also like, come on, like you've got these Io and Dakota are very top level talents here. If you don't know who they are, trust me, you're gonna find out. You're gonna be very impressed. Eddie says Bayley's return was predictable. I mean, yeah, like you could have seen that coming. You had to figure. I mean, SummerSlam has been the place for returns. I guess for the past 2 years, they had to figure they had something lined up. This was a great way to do that. But then he says Dakota and Io being back is a shock again because Dakota was released. Io was reportedly on the way out. So absolutely crazy there. Mike says the craziest night he's seen in WWE in decades. I mean, again, right off the bat here, very unpredictable. absolutely awesome the way to start the show here, and just this like energy and feeling of excitement, unpredictability, anything can happen that I think has been absent for a long time. When exactly is up to you. I'll say it feels like we haven't seen this kind of excitement. Anything can happen, aesthetic or feel to the show in a long time. Now, and this is another part of it here. Reportedly, WWE is interested in, or at least trying to maybe reconcile with Sasha Banks and Naomi. Could they become part of this as well? We'll see, right? I think with the new regime, maybe they could get them back in the fold. That could change things, and they could easily become part of this, or at the very least make it even more exciting. Maybe they could back, and then they're like a third side of it, where maybe they're not exactly with Bianca, or then they're not really with Bayley. Maybe they're just their own duo doing their own thing. Very, very cool here. It's absolutely great way, and instantly you could tell the change here with Triple H being in charge. So this was very, very exciting. It's a great way to start the show. And again, this opens up the door. You think about what else could happen. Eddie says Tegan Knox, another one of Triple H's NXT stars he clearly valued a lot. You think about maybe Triple H bring back more of the people that he valued, that he liked a lot. Maybe coming back, the people that got released from NXT after he was forced to step away from it. Maybe he brings them back again. We saw Dakota Kai. Like who's next, or is there more? I don't know. I do think that's definitely something to think about, something that's exciting, and I definitely hope that we see some of that. Eisen's commenting about Johnny Wrestling. I'll talk about him a little bit, but maybe that's another thing we can hope for. Steven says, kudos to Triple H, best pay-per-view of the year so far. And we've had some good pay-per-views, but I've got to agree, I thought it was a very good show. And again, just like I think this was the peak of the show last night with Dakota, Bayley, and Io showing up. There are other good things as well, but like this was a great way to start the show. I think this was the peak of like, wow, like this is awesome. And the rest of the show, like there was a lot of good, but at least for myself, I think this is kind of the thing that just topped the show for me personally. So again, very, very exciting. I liked it a lot. We'll have to wait and see how exactly it all unfolds here. Bayley, the trio did like a very brief post-match interview in a digital exclusive, and Bayley was asked like, why tonight? And Bayley said, y'all have to wait, just like we did. It's like a very, very brief answer. So I would imagine we'll find out more on Raw, but definitely this is huge, and I'm very excited about what this could mean just for the women's division in general. And just again, this is a very, very clear evidence of like it's a new day. Triple H is going for it. It's awesome. So very, very happy to see that. So with that, we're moving on to the next match of the night. Logan Paul and The Miz. Not the biggest fan of this feud. I didn't love it. I haven't loved it. I mean, I've not been the biggest fan of Logan Paul. I thought he was very impressive at WrestleMania. For a guy having his first match, I thought like he kind of seemed like a natural. I was very impressed by that. But I was also like, I don't exactly want to see more of him. So then he signed with the company. And he's been feuding with The Miz, and now we had this match for SummerSlam. So, you had to kind of figure. For me, I figured Logan was going to win. He signed with the company. This is his first singles match. Miz, as Nash points out, he had like on his gears, like him. I think he has like my balls are massive or something. Like, I hope with Triple H being in charge that goes away. I don't love the massive balls thing. It seems very silly to me. But they're using that, trying to get Logan Paul over as a babyface. So, whatever. I myself am more interested in a way here with the Ciampa dynamic. Ciampa was at ringside for The Miz, and he did some interviews leading up to the show about working with The Miz and about how he's getting eyeballs on him by working with The Miz. And with Triple H being in charge now, I'm very hopeful for Ciampa. Like Vince McMahon didn't really seem to like to get it with Ciampa, and kind of just randomly stuck him with The Miz. And now Ciampa being one of the stars of Triple H's NXT, that makes me very hopeful. So AJ Styles came out during the match and basically attacked Ciampa to kind of remove him from the equation. And Ciampa, the referee kicked him out, and Ciampa got a chair from ringside. It's like he sat to sit down, and then Styles came out and kind of attacked him to remove him from the equation there. But overall here, this was Logan Paul's first singles match on a very big stage. Mike Barnes says you can tell Logan puts in the time. It seems like he has potential. He's very much a natural. In the ring, I gotta admit, I'm very impressed. And I definitely agree that he has potential. Again, even if I'm not the biggest fan of him facing what we've kind of seen about him in the public eyes and stuff he's done in the past. Just like, you've got to admit, he's very impressive in the ring. I definitely agree he has potential. Eddie agreeing his performance was impressive. Like it or hate it as a person, he gave it his best. He clearly cares about the business. Every interview he's done, he said that he has fallen in love with the business. He loves it. So he seems to be enjoying it. He's not just in it for the payday or whatever. Like, he seems to actually enjoy it. They showed clips of him training. He's seemingly taking it seriously. So I thought I was impressed. He did like a moonsault at one point, and then of course the highlight of the match, he did a frog splash to the broadcast table. That was pretty crazy. Like, it reminded me, like, Seth Rollins did a frog splash through the table to Brock Lesnar. I think it's SummerSlam like 2019. So this reminded me of that. Like, that's a long jump. I just think that the frog splash was good. The crowd cheered him. I think like that frog splash kind of convinced the crowd, like, okay, this guy's legit. They started cheering him. So maybe against all odds, WWE is seemingly getting Logan Paul over as babyface. I'm curious about like what happens next. I don't know how long the feud's going to go. There might be some more meat on the bone here, but like, it's easy to have the crowd cheer a guy when it's against the Miz, and is a natural heel. He's very good at it. But then, like, kind of what we see after that, like, I'm curious to how he does as babyface, kind of without having the Miz play off of. There are other good heels, but like, the Miz is the Miz, so I'm curious about that. Steven says it's got to be pretty insulting. The Miz got pinned by his own finisher. So in the end, Maurice got on the apron and tried to distract Logan, and then Miz went to hit him. Logan moved, so Miz was like, "Oh, didn't want to hit his wife naturally." And then Miz got hit with a skull crushing finale. Logan wins. So Steven says it was funny to get pinned by his own finisher there. That begs the question, like, what's Logan's finisher? Like, he used Miz's skull crushing finale there. Makes you wonder, what his finisher will be. We do know that Logan Paul signed a contract, so you wondered what's next for him. It says Logan Paul versus Pat McAfee, WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood. I mean, maybe, but right now they're both baby faces, so like, I don't know if that's. I mean, on paper it sounds cool and it would make sense, but like, I don't know how they get there sitting here today. Obviously, we'll talk about Pat McAfee in a minute here. I don't know. Obviously they're both like these kind of non-wrestler superstars in a way that they're getting these matches here. They're getting these big high-profile spots. You have to imagine they'll both be involved in WrestleMania. That's still a long ways away, so who knows what things will be like by then. But overall, I was very impressed here with Logan Paul. Very good outing for his first singles match here. Steven says Paul versus Bad Bunny. I mean, it'd be very easy if they wanted to have Paul be the heel against Bad Bunny. Like, people love Bad Bunny. And having Bad Bunny come back after his very impressive WrestleMania match as well. I mean, I think that's a story that kind of writes itself if Bad Bunny has time in his schedule. I know he's very, very busy. So I'm curious. I think, like I said, I think we're not done with this yet. Clearly, they're rolling with Logan and the Miz here. So maybe there'll be another rematch or maybe a tag team match. They had AJ Styles and Ciampa get involved. And that's Eddie points out. Maybe he'll be doing Clash at the Castle. Maybe you got, a tag team match there with Logan and AJ versus Miz and Ciampa. I think that would make a lot of sense. But I agree with Mike points. Logan's a natural heel. He could get massive heat. Apparently, he wants to be babyface. That's like something that's been reported about. I think if you were to kind of, come around on that, I think there's a lot of money with him as a heel. Because again, to me, he's a natural heel. Like, to me, it just works. Like, I'm not saying he's not a likable guy, but like, he has that just a general kind of vibe of like he's a natural heel. So maybe we'll get this kind of babyface run for now, and then maybe later on we'll see if that kind of come around and he'll be a heel guy. Because I think that he plays that part very well, at least not on WWE TV. So definitely here, good outing from Logan Paul. I'm interested in where it goes from here. Again, presuming we're going to get some more of this with the Miz here. Derek says wrestlers should be embarrassed if celebrities are outperforming you. I mean, yeah, you gotta give Logan Paul credit for stepping up. It's definitely a big opportunity. Again, he seems like a natural. He's definitely making the most of the opportunities he's getting. And I've been very impressed so far. But if you're getting outperformed by someone that's literally in their second match here, then you might want to ask yourself, what you're doing. But no, I like this match here. Next up, we had kind of a bit of I think the show kind of had some like peaks and then kind of came down a little bit. So we had this pretty cool match a very impressive match here with Logan Paul. Then we had the U.S. title match with Bobby Lashley in theory, and at least going off Wikipedia, this match was less than 5 minutes long. Came in at 4:45. And Lashley won. Lashley won clean. He made Theory tap out, even after Theory attacked him during his entrance. So someone tweeted, I think Sean Rossappa tweeted on TV that Theory is like 0-8 since he won Money in the Bank. And then I think there's another tweet from someone else that if you include house shows, Theory is like 0-14 or something since he won Money in the Bank, which is not a good look. Hopefully that's something that changes with Triple H being in charge now. Vince McMahon would always like to kind of not bury the Money in the Bank winner, but have him lose a lot. And so that's why I was surprised to hear Triple H being in charge. Theory, like, not like he got buried here, but like he lost cleanly. He tapped out in a 5-minute match, not even. Not great in that sense. We'll talk more about Theory later. Eddie points out Theory is feuding with everybody on the main roster. He's kind of feuding with Drew McIntyre. He's been feuding with Bobby Lashley. He's kind of feuding with Madcap Moss. And I think that's kind of cool. And of course, Dolph Ziggler as well. They've got that going on Raw now. She expected Ziggler to show up at some point, and he did not. So maybe we'll kind of get that tomorrow on Raw, or moving forward here, we'll get some kind of continuation of that story here. Mike Barnes says Theory losing makes sense because it's putting him over as a heel. I mean, I don't know. Like, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like he's losing over and over and over again. And we'll talk about the Money in the Bank aspect of this later on for the main event. But like, he is Mr. Money in the Bank. To me, call me old-fashioned. Again, I want the Money in the Bank guy to, or whoever holds, whether it's the men or the women's side of things, I want them to get momentum. I want them to, supposedly, like, you're trying to get them over as someone that could be the world champion. Like, you should want them to be winning matches. Like, to me, that just kind of a simple equation there. I don't know. But I mean, I think with Nesha saying, Nesha and Eddie both saying here, you could have this feud with Ziggler here. Maybe if you have the Money in the Bank case get put on the line at some point. I think that'd be a very easy way to get Theory back on track. Give him a win over a guy like Ziggler. At some point, there's a diminishing value on it because Ziggler's the guy they always plug in to have lose. So that, like, as time goes on, it's less. It's less of a statement-making win if you have them beat Ziggler, but he's still a former world champion. There's still value in that. I think this will be a very good feud. Ziggler's great in the ring. This could easily get him over here. I just said Ziggler will teach Theory the proper way to cash in his contract. Again, we'll talk about the cash-in aspect of it later here. But I think that could be a fun feud. I hope that, like, I would assume that that's where we're going. Like, they've been having that story kind of in the background of Raw for a couple weeks now, where Ziggler shows up and it'll cost Theory's match. But like, we haven't really seen that real progression so much yet. It's just been Ziggler costing some matches so far. As a mark, we're hoping the glorious one will return. I mean, under Triple H, you got to imagine, like I said, a bunch of the NXT guys or just the NXT stars in general could get kind of a second glance here. And I didn't even think about Robert Roode, but that'd be really cool to have the glorious one, Robert Roode, return. I hope so. But then I don't know where he fits in with this. But also good win for Lashley. Eddie points out Lashley's he's not been pinned for a whole year ever since he lost the WWE title to Big E, and that was last September. So that's a very good streak he's got going for him. He's having a good run so far. And one thing I definitely want to see, I agree with Steven saying he would like to see Lashley versus Gunther, the IC champion versus the Intercontinental champion at Survivor Series, likely. I think that'd be a very good brand versus brand match there. Yeah, that'd be cool. Lashley's rolling. He's getting over as a face. It's going very well for him. I'm liking this so far very much in terms of just having him be this like dominant babyface champion. By and large, I am more like the post off of Theory. But again, that was the Vince era. It's a new era. I'm hopeful that the Triple H being in charge will be good for Bobby Lashley. Good one so far here. I'm sorry, it was a good win for Lashley. I was more so problematic. The pretty bad loss for Theory, at least in my opinion. But Lashley's rolling. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for him. Definitely like the idea of him facing Gunther. And we're on to the next one here. So we have the Mysterios facing the Judgment Day. Match was fine. The match was fine. It was no DQ. Rhea Ripley got involved because it was no DQ. We've seen them have like matches on Raw lately, so like the match itself wasn't all that much to write home about. Rey Mysterio still moves like it's 2002. The guy's almost 50. He's like the ageless wonder at this point. He just celebrated his 20th anniversary of the company this past Monday, so that was very cool. So I'm glad he got to be on SummerSlam. I'm glad he got to be with his son Dominic on SummerSlam. I'm glad the Judgment Day was on SummerSlam. So in the middle of the match, Judgment Day is taking control. I think Finn Balor is going to hit Rey with a chair or something, and then the lights went out or whatever, and we cued this like flaming staircase, and Edge comes up. Of course, Edge is back. So I should mention on the kickoff show, they showed a vignette the mystery vignettes have been on Raw with the mystery guy. It's very clearly Edge. And then it said, like, I am coming tonight. So they like gave that away. I don't know why they did that. Like, I would have left it where if they should have replayed that vignette. If it were me, I would have replayed that vignette just saying, I am coming. And then leave it to the fan. Be like, oh, maybe he's coming tonight. But then they literally said, he's coming tonight. So it's like, they gave it away. So I didn't love that aspect. It was like, well, yeah, Edge is back. You gave it away. But Steven says his new entrance was cool. It was like the Brood. He's got a new look. He's got like the short hair still, but he's got this like flaming entrance, very like demonic. So I think we're going to see this like Brood / Judgment Day hybrid babyface Edge, which could be cool. And that's just we knew it was Edge. Yeah, come on, we all knew, right? So he helps Mysterios win. Not all that much to write home about. Like, I thought it was a fine match. And I agree. Mike says it didn't make sense to have, like, he says having promos at all. I was fine having the vignettes, but again, having it play the night of the show and say, I'm coming tonight, again, you're just literally giving it away. I would have rather had a little bit of mystery, but Edge helps Mysterios win, and it was good for them. Good way to bring him back in the fold here. He's been missed, so he'll be a good shot in the arm for Raw in terms of having a genuine main event star back in the fold there. And Eddie, I like this picture saying Eddie versus Finn Balor at Clash at the Castle, and that would be cool. I think that would make a lot of sense. I like when things make sense. I mean, Edge brought Finn Balor into Judgment Day, and then that very same night, Finn Balor and Judgment Day turn on him. So that makes perfect sense. Like, cool, right? I book it. I like it. You know, that sets itself up. You could also do Edge versus Damian Priest, same thing. Like, Edge could be like, "Oh, I recruited you, and he betrayed me." So I think, like, we're seeing this feud with Mysterio and Judgment Day. This feud with like Edge and Judgment Day could get WWE through. I would say like through the fall, really. Because you got Finn Balor, you got Damian Priest. You could do the tag teams with Edge and Mysterio versus Judgment Day. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of possibilities there. I'm looking forward to it. Edge versus Finn Balor could be very, very cool. Outside of that, Steven says Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn and Rhea Ripley. That'd be a lot of fun as well. Maybe that's the Survivor Series match. I think that's something you could do for like one of the bigger shows here. I would definitely think that'd be and I think Rhea has even said that like Beth is one of her dream matches. And I think vice versa. But Beth has spoken pretty highly of Rhea Ripley. But I seem to remember Rhea saying that she wants to face Beth at some point, if possible. There you go. Yeah, that very much could be something we wind up seeing. This like new demonic like Edge versus Judgment Day here. As I'm saying, could be a way to get Finn out of the story and to go back to the Prince. I don't think so. I think they're pretty set on this Judgment Day Finn, Damian, Rhea Ripley thing, at least for now. And if anything, I think they're going to lean more into it. Like Finn, I think he did an interview before SummerSlam saying we probably won't see the demon for a while, but like this could be like a humanized demon, or he's a heel. And he's like got the Judgment Day thing. They've like kind of leaned away from the supernatural side of it, but maybe they could incorporate that. I don't think he's gonna go back to being the Prince anytime soon, though. Like he just turned and joined Judgment Day, a month or two ago. And to me, it would seem to suggest like that this is where we're going to be going with him for now. Could be the Prince again someday. I love Finn Balor, and I'm a big fan of him as the Prince, but I think there's still a lot they can do with him as a heel, because we haven't really seen a lot of what he can do. So I'm looking forward to the storyline. I think there's a lot of possibilities here. And Eddie points out at some point we could see Rhea Ripley facing Bianca. This match is still on the table as well, so they can definitely circle back to that. And I think they will. I think that's definitely something that they have lined up, because Rhea had a title shot and was unable to capitalize here. And yeah, Mike Barnes saying if we have Finn be the heel like he was in New Japan, it could be epic. Yeah, Finn Balor. If they remotely captured the Finn Balor from New Japan, I say that would be a very, very good thing. Next up, we got Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. I thought this was fine. I think Logan Paul was like really, really impressive. Pat McAfee, I think having both matches on the same show, like one of them was bound to outshine the other. Pat's cool. I like him on commentary. I think he's very fun. But like Logan Paul looked really, really natural here. I didn't think Pat, measured up to that. Like he did some top rope things, and like he kind of like wobbled on top rope, and then in the finish he went for like a destroyer, and it was really rough. If you haven't seen it, look it up. Credit the respect. I also credit they had the cool entrance for him. They had like the men's choir singing "Bum Ass Corbin." I thought that was cool as well. That was a very fun entrance. You could bring out the big entrance for SummerSlam. So I definitely like that aspect of it. And in interviews, both Pat and Happy Corbin talked about how, you know, they used to be teammates. So you know, like this meant a lot to them at being able to do this. You know, they're friends. Like we can suspend our disbelief. Like they go way back. You can imagine they've been wanting to do this for a long time. So I think that's very cool as well. I definitely like the entrance. Pat McAfee wins. He's undefeated in sanctioned matches in WWE. So there you go. I don't know exactly where they're going with him, but that was fine, you know. And then after the match, Pat McAfee like did the suck it thing to Corey Graves, and Steven says maybe we'll see that at some point soon. I mean, Corey Graves is cleared to compete reportedly, and I think he said that himself. So like, if they want to have him come back for like a one-off, maybe WrestleMania, maybe a Survivor Series, I don't know. I definitely think that's something they could do though. But yeah, I didn't love this. Like, I just like, especially again, I'm not trying to like put over Logan Paul too much, but like Logan Paul was really impressive. So then Pat McAfee like kind of fell short of that. And he says it was just not his best performance at SummerSlam, not his night. I mean, yeah, he was wobbling on top rope. He went for the like sunset flipper destroyer, and it did not go very well. I just, yeah, it was so clear, like, oh, Logan Paul was really cool, and then Pat McAfee was like, not so much. Pat, like, I really like Pat WrestleMania, but he literally, like, at least then Logan was in the tag team match. He got some flashes. This was Logan Paul went all out for his singles match, and then Pat McAfee. It's like, I'm sure he went all out. He trains and he's very passionate about it, but just like, everyone has an off night, and that's fine. It happens. We're all human. But just like, I think the indirect kind of competition where you're both on the same night, I just think, yeah, it was not the best. He won. Good for him. I thought it was fun for what it was. One underrated aspect of the whole show, and Mike Barnes, I think it was during this match, was Corey Graves saying Michael Cole that he liked him better when you weren't allowed to have an opinion. And then I think Michael Cole said something like, well, a lot has changed, and I can have an opinion now. Something like that, very clearly implying like he can have an opinion now. Vince McMahon is no longer in charge. Like, we're seeing, you know, things are a little more loose, a little more. We got spicy Michael Cole. That was what was going around last night on Twitter. Everyone loves spicy Michael Cole. He was clearly cheering for McAfee. Like, he like jumped out of his chair when McAfee won. They're friends. So that's really cool. It's cool to see Michael Cole actually, like, and it says he's more free now. You know, he's more free. He doesn't have Vince McMahon in his ear. So that's definitely very cool as well. So definitely an underrated aspect of this new era is like is the commentary. It's like it's different now. You don't have Vince McMahon screaming in people's ears and telling him what he wants to hear. So definitely already seeing some difference there as well. Next up, we have the Usos and Street Profits. You know, Money in the Bank, they had a great match. And I think anytime you have a great match, it's hard to live up to it soon after. So I'll apply to movies. You have a great movie, the sequel doesn't always live up to it. Same thing here. They have another match here, and you bring in Jeff Jarrett, special referee. If anything, that kind of overshadowed it, because it was like, oh, what's Jeff Jarrett going to do? You know, is something going to happen? I thought that the Street Profits win here. We had the Street Profits enter wearing like Nashville, the Tennessee Titans inspired gear. They had the Tennessee Titans cheerleaders come out. I'm like, I really thought they were going to win. Like, everything was kind of gearing up for them to win. And then they had one really good near fall. So at one point, I think like Jimmy Uso or something, like one just went for a kick, and then I think like Dawkins ducked, and Jeff Jarrett caught it, and he spun the Uso into Dawkins, spinebuster, Montez Ford at the frog splash. I really thought like right there, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna win, and they didn't. I was like, that was one of the near falls, probably one of the best near falls I saw last night. I was like, wow, like I really thought that was it. And then in the end, Usos won. That's it. Usos won again. After the match, the Street Profits were very upset. They had like the camera focused on them. I think that they're going to split up soon. I think this is it. Like, I think this is their last best shot to win the titles, because like, how much more can they keep losing? Like, they've had multiple shots at the Usos for the titles. This was it. This was the rematch. They had a special referee. Maybe they run it back one more time, but like otherwise, I think it's time. Eddie says turn Montez Ford heel soon. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want him to turn heel. He's such a baby face. Like, he's such a likable guy. If anything, I think Dawkins, it's the classic tag team split of like Dawkins be like, oh, you're overshadowing me, blah, blah, blah. Because literally people for months been like, oh, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Dawkins has been very impressive. But I think that's a story that very much writes itself of like, you've got that jealousy of one outshining the other. But Nesha agrees, saying she thought that Floyd would turn on Dawkins. I mean, maybe that'd go against the grain of like, going with the heel for Montez Ford here. I mean, I think that's something they could do. But I definitely think they're going to turn up. I don't want them to break up, and Mike Barnes saying he doesn't want them to break up because they're a great team. And Steven agreeing they're one of the best teams here, and they don't have a lot of tag teams in WWE at all. They need to improve the division here. I don't want them to keep losing though. Like again, if they don't feud with the Usos, like what's there to really do for them? They don't have a lot of other teams. So I myself think that them breaking up would probably be for the best here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of the Montez Ford heel thing. Like I see it, and that's just that they could have him blame Dawkins for the loss. Maybe. I mean, Dawkins did get pinned. It is important to point out there. I see Montez as this huge baby face, and maybe he turns and then he gets the baby face run later on. But I think they break up. They start as the face maybe, and I just whatever they do, I think he's got a ton of potential. I'm looking forward to this potential single event for him. And I have to imagine that's going to be coming at some point soon. And now, yeah, like with Usos, now it's like when Reigns, it's like, well, who's going to beat them? It's like, who else do you have? Eddie wonders maybe the team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He says Zayn in the bloodline, and then he gets rejected. Maybe you have him team with Owens. I like that. That'd be fun. So I think that'd be a lot of fun. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go way back. There's a lot of history there. They don't have a lot of tag teams. Again, the female show, Triple H incorporated NXT. Maybe he brings up a team from NXT and does it that way, where he builds up someone on NXT. Who that might be, I don't know. And then maybe that's more of a long-term thing, because I look at NXT right now, I don't see a tag team right here today that could come up and maybe beat the Usos. Maybe the Creed Brothers down the road. Yeah, the tag division there is not as stocked as it once was in terms of people ready to slot in, whereas previously had DIY, American Alpha, stuff like that. I do think that there's a little less depth there in that sense now. They got to build it up, and maybe down the road that'll be a thing. But yeah, I have no idea. I like the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing on the main roster. They've got New Day, they've got the Viking Raiders, they've got Alpha Academy, RK Bro. If Randy comes back and they want to keep doing that, although I'd imagine at that point they'd have them split up. They do have the Mysterios, maybe. They need more teams, though. I'll definitely agree with that. But yeah, definitely no easy answers there. Eddie, I like the idea. Maybe a Viking Raiders, New Day versus Usos at the Castle. Well, they had the Viking Raiders destroy Xavier Woods' ankle on SmackDown. So I don't know if he's storyline hurt right now. We'll see what happens there. But that sounds like a very fun match. Something that wasn't a fun match, but at least had some big implications, was the SmackDown Women's title match here. Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey here. Again, I'm looking the peaks and valleys here. So we have a really good tag. I mean, it was a good tag title match. It went over 10 minutes, and then like the US title match, folks. Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey went 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. This pretty big match here, just over 4:30 according to Wikipedia at least. Big match for Liv Morgan, Ronda Rousey, one of the bigger stars here, less than 5 minutes. So I myself didn't love the finish. So Ronda kept attacking Liv's arm, and Liv was fighting through it. And at one point they had the trainer check on her, and then we had Ronda kept attacking the armbar. Eddie says the match was short, not a lot of moves. No, Ronda did the armbar. Really, very, there really wasn't much to this. So then Ronda locked in the armbar again, and then Liv turned it into a pinfall. And then she put Ronda Rousey on her back. And then as the referee was counting the pin, we had Liv tap out as well. So for a second, I really thought that Ronda won. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then, of course, shoulders were counting the pin. Referee didn't see it. So Liv Morgan retained. Ronda's very upset. She attacked Liv and then just beat the crap out of the referee. So Ronda Rousey is finally a heel. Thank goodness. Long overdue. And that's just saying that the finish makes sense. I mean, yeah, you had to protect Liv. It was assuming you wanted her to win. You had to protect Ronda. Done and done. Ronda's a heel now. Good. I'm sorry. I was not enjoying her as a babyface at all. I thought the week after Money in the Bank, maybe even after, maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe she should turn and live there. Maybe she should have attacked her and been like, you took my title, and now I'm gonna break your arm, essentially. No, I thought that definitely would have been for the best here. Nestor says that Ronda's probably going to get fined for attacking the ref. I mean, yeah, she literally like judo through the ref, locked in an armbar. She's going to get fined. But I think this is a win-win. Nestor says you got live retained, heel Ronda, going to get another match out of this. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Ed is saying Liv retaining is good. Saying that Liv should hold till the end of the year. I'm okay. I would have been okay if Ronda won at SummerSlam by turning heel. Outside of that, though, we talked about this after Money in the Bank. I don't know how they can really convince, at least me, that Liv Morgan could actually beat Ronda Rousey in a straight-up match, especially now that Ronda is this killer MMA badass Ronda Rousey, not this happy tough guy, whatever. Ronda Rousey, now she's a heel. It's now she's got that killer instinct. So I don't know. I imagine we'll get a rematch, maybe Clash of the Castle, maybe the Extreme Rules. And I honestly, maybe they'll suspend Ronda for a month in storyline for the attack, and then she'll come back. Next one's up, maybe Charlotte will come back. Maybe she'll beat Liv. She's predicting that Charlotte's going to come back on Friday. I thought if they really want to get crazy, they'd have Charlotte return at SummerSlam, and I thought she could confront Liv. If you remember, I think it was 2019. Liv faced Charlotte on SmackDown, and then she got this promo saying essentially just you wait, that she's going to be something someday, and now here we are. So there's definitely that story there as well. I think that's definitely a match they've got there. That'd be a great way to potentially to really cement Liv as a top star. Not that Ronda isn't, but I definitely think there's a lot of potential there. As this again, the underdog aspect is Charlotte Flair against similar thing with Ronda. It's Charlotte Flair been champion 12, 13 times, if not more. So that's definitely a great show they could tell as well. Eddie says Ronda's heel turn is the best heel position of her career. Yeah, I mean, long overdue. I think that would be very good for her, and she could help build some other baby faces here on SmackDown. Whether it's maybe not Aaliyah, I don't know. I think it's a win-win. It's a very good thing on all fronts. So definitely looking forward to that. Steven says Liv needs some submissions holds. Maybe. I mean, she's got the Oblivion. I think it's a good finisher. I don't think she needs submissions. She's not a. Well, she's a fighter, in terms of spirit, but she's not an MMA submission specialist. Maybe she'll start training with somebody. Maybe a streak with Ronda will encourage that. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea. I don't think it's needed. I think you need to have people stand out. You can have Ronda and Charlotte, some others be your submission people, and otherwise you can have people just have finishers. That's fine. And not everyone needs to have some. Maybe she'll act the Rings of Saturn and somebody. She just needs a finisher for a submission for a finisher. But I thought less so the match. I think the match is good, but more so the story here. Ronda's a heel, and then they think about potentially Charlotte Flair coming back. I think they've got some good things in the works there. I'm looking forward to that as well. And otherwise, that takes us to the main event. One last time, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So the build wasn't great. It was mostly Paul Heyman promos. The theory aspect, will he cash in? Won't he cash in? He's probably going to cash in. So that kind of overshadowed it as well. One last time, Roman and Brock Lesnar, the winner, will face, heading in the match, we knew the winner would face Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle. So this was a last man standing match, and Eddie says it was insane. And someone commented earlier that nothing else mattered because trying to find the comment. So someone said nothing else mattered because Brock Lesnar used a freaking tractor. There it is. Kit Kat saying Brock used a tractor in the ring, on the ring, not just in the ring. So he rode a tractor to the ring for his entrance, hopped off of it, and later in the ring, he put Roman in the loading bay and dumped him in the ring. And then later on, he literally lifted the ring and destroyed it, kind of broke it essentially, and Roman just went tumbling out of the ring. It was so crazy. It was one of the more most interesting main event matches I've seen in quite a while. This felt right out of the Attitude Era. It was crazy main events. You had the Usos come in, you had Theory come in. He tried to cash in, but Brock Lesnar attacked him. So I was going to talk about it earlier. So we had the theory aspect of this as well. Mike says that the tractor was crazy. The match itself was crazy thing you've seen in decades. Steven saying Brock ran the tractor, yeehaw. During his entrance, he called himself a country boy. I'm Brock Lesnar's lived his best life. You gotta love it. Ignacio says it was a great match. Everything it took for Brock to lose. I mean, again, Usos, belt shots. Paul Heyman got F5 to the broadcast table. This match was crazy. It's crazy. This was definitely much better than I was expecting. I didn't know what they'd really be able to do with this. But this was so much fun. The tractor was crazy. Like, I don't think of it at first. Like, he's riding a tractor. Then he used it on Roman. Like, that's kind of cool. Then he would have like lifts the ring and Roman tumbled out. And then Michael Cole stole at the end. Like, he was just screaming. He was like, Brock's a monster. Like, he was begging him to stay down. Brock kept getting up. And then finally, Roman and the Usos literally buried him under the broadcast table. And then I think Michael Cole said, they're burying Brock Lesnar, which is very funny because it's WWE TV. Man. And then Nesha talked about Theory. She thought Ziggler would stop him. I like the aspect of having Theory get involved because they've been telling that story. And to that degree, they've been telling the Dolph Ziggler story as well. But like having Dolph come out for this main event, like that wouldn't have been great. It's like, it's Brock and Roman, like Dolph. Come on. But even so, it was crazy, but it was a great match. It was a crazy, great match. Both can be true, right? I thought it was very, very good. I just said it was 5 stars by Dave Meltzer. I haven't seen that myself yet. If true, like, damn, 5 stars. That's WWE just does not get that a lot. So another says that Brock always destroys rings. Clearly, he did the Superplex, the Big Show. Now he's done this. He just doesn't like rings. Eddie says the Tractor is the new WWE superstar, signed on a multi-year deal. Yeah, I imagine we're going to get like a Mattel toy set with Brock Lesnar and the Tractor for kicks and giggles, I guess. That feels like a pretty clear incentive here of why they did that. Maybe not. Maybe they're just trying to be creative. But regardless, that was a very good match. My expectations for the match were probably at like maybe a 7 because we've seen it so much. I think for me itself was probably like a 9 out of 10 because it was for sheer insanity. Because it was so crazy. The tractor, the ring, everything else. A totally great story. I liked it a lot. Great way to close the show. I just said the flipping the ring with the tractor is the best spot in wrestling ever. Hey man, I thought it was very, very cool. I got to give out the thought about the best spot of all time. That was very, very cool. I liked it. It was crazy, and especially watching in the moment, having no idea it would happen. It was like, oh damn, like this is happening. Very, very cool. I liked it a lot. And that says Brock and the Tractor, take my money now. Be a fun toy, so I'll play that much. Or if they put the Tractor in the video game, that'd be very fun as well. But no, this was crazy. The great main event. Heading in the main event, I'm like, oh, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but it's been a good show. And as long as the main event's fine, it'll be good. I'll be happy with it. Then we got this great way to close the show. For myself here, I'll go for an 8 out of 10. And maybe that's a little low. I'll go for like a solid 8. I could be talking to like an 8.3 or so for SummerSlam overall. That was a very good show here. All in all, the Bayley Dakota Io thing, very, very exciting. Overall, the great main event. Round of heel turns great. Eddie points out Brock maybe done with WWE now that Vince is gone. Maybe he'll drive his tractor back home. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think with Vince being gone, this may be the last Brock Lesnar for now. I think that would make a lot of sense. One last time to face Roman Reigns, and they can ride off in the sunset. Yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But if that's it for Brock Lesnar, what a great way to go out. That's what says. She gave it a 10 out of 10 again. I mean, the day I give a show a 10 out of 10, it's gonna have to be a very special day. I thought it was a very good show. Like I said, I'll go for like a solid 8.3 ish. Like I thought it was very, very good. Best pay-per-view in a while. More than anything, just a sense of hope and optimism. I'm digging it. I'm liking it. I'm hopeful. It's a new era, folks. I'm very excited for Raw. We got Eddie with an 8, Steven with an 8.5. And that says Brock and a Tractor put it on a shirt. That'd be great as well. I thought it was a very good show. I liked it. And again, more than anything, I'm just happy to have the hope for so long. The loss of hope and just being so jaded about WWE. Now at least I'm like, okay, it's a new era. This show itself was very, very encouraging. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. And I'm thinking like it's good. Things are good. Like I think we're in for more good things to come. I'm very excited about it. And exactly, we'll close on this. Eddie's saying great future for WWE with Triple H in charge, and we'll see what happens next. And that's the question, Nesha. What's next? We'll wait and see. We can look forward to Clash of the Castle. That's a couple weeks away. That is the weekend of Labor Day. I believe that is September 3rd or so, off the top of my head. So that's only like 5. I think the last night is 5 weeks away. So that's around the corner. But we look forward to that. Lots of good stuff. We're going to look forward to Clash of the Castle, and by then, hopefully, we'll have an even better sense of this new WWE. But otherwise, we'll be here every step of the way. We do the Raw NXT show most weeks. This past week, we did the news show because obviously things are so crazy with Triple H taking over and Vince retiring. But usually now the new schedule, Raw NXT show on Wednesdays. I want to try and do a new show on Friday if possible. I'm trying to get that started, but at the very least, we talk about all things Raw and NXT on Wednesdays here, but kind of a combined show for that. Got a great show of interviews coming at you. The two Dynamite Dudes on Rampage to cover all things AEW. Marcus Dominic, maybe check that out as well. And otherwise, again, we're here for pay-per-view post shows. We're here for Raw and NXT because that's what we do with wrestling. We try to help you guys enjoy the wrestling. And now, Triple H being in charge, it's easier to, especially WWE. It's easy to enjoy the wrestling because it's fun. It's an exciting time. We're all very hopeful. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. So with that, folks, the world outside may be a scary place, but here we do one thing above all others, and that, my friends, is to enjoy wrestling. Thanks for listening, everybody.